In today's class, we are going to find out what would be the form and solution of heat diffusion equation if we have heat being generated in the system. These systems occur in practical field, for example, in ohmic heating, where you have electrical energy passing electricity passing through a wire, and due to resistance heating you are going to get some sort of heat generation which would alter the temperature field inside an wire. It is also relevant in the case of nuclear reactors, where in cylindrical fuel rods there would be some nuclear heat generation, and you really have to find out what's going to be the maximum temperature inside such a fuel rod. So, you can imagine that's a cylindrical system. So, the maximum temperature would probably be at the center line, and you also have to make sure that that center line temperature should not exceed the melting point of the material. So, there are a number of calculations in application areas where you would like to solve the heat diffusion equation with heat generation embedded into it. There may be another situation also. You may have a number of surfaces or number of plane walls, let us say, connected with each other, with one wall generating heat, the other wall is acting just as an insulator. So, you would like to find out what is the amount of heat that is reaching the insulating wall. So, temperature profiles with heat generation are of practical relevance, and we are going to start with the simplest possible situation in which in a plane wall there is uniform heat generation, and we will see what kind of a profile we would get. We would extend that for cylindrical systems as well, and finally towards the end of today's class we are going to look into another important aspect of heat transfer engineering, that's how do we design extended surfaces. Now, whenever I say extended surface, you can think of it's an extra area provided to cool part of an object. The simplest possible example is if you look at the radiator of a car, there would be a large number of fins, thin plates attached to the radiator, which helps in cooling the temperature of the coolant which is being circulated in the engine. So, we would like to see what kind of equations one can use for heat dissipation from an extended surface. So, the extended surface is going to receive energy only at its base, and it is going to dissipate energy mostly by convection from its periphery. So, those are generally termed as fins. So, what would be the equations for fins, and what would be the criteria for using or deciding to manufacture or deciding to implement a fin for a specific purpose? That would be the second part of my lecture. Now, heat source systems, we know that for a plane system the heat diffusion equation is del 2 T del x square plus del 2 T del y square plus z term plus q dot, which is the heat generation per unit volume, divided by k at steady state would be equal to 0. So, this is the equation which we would like to solve with proper boundary conditions. Now, what kind of boundary conditions one can get? We may have it's a symmetric system, both sides, both boundaries exposed to the same environment. If you have a plane wall with both boundaries subjected to same boundary conditions, which boundary condition can I use? A plane wall, both sides same boundary, same conditions, convective conditions, let us say.
Constant heat flux.
A constant heat flux is being a constant heat watt per meter cube, heat per unit volume, let us say it is being generated inside. Let us refer to this one. Let us say this is a plane wall with this direction is x, and this is plus L and minus, this is each of them, that means the half thickness is equal to L, and let us say we have some amount of heat generation q dot inside it. What are the boundary conditions? So, the governing equation, if it is one dimensional conduction equation, would simply at steady state q dot by k is equal to 0. and remember that this q dot is always heat generated per unit volume. So, what are the two conditions that one can specify? Let us say this is T1 and this is T2. These T1 and T2 are specified, that means you know the numerical value of this. If T1 is equal to T2, what kind of a distribution are you going to get? Let me rephrase my question. Suppose you switch off this q dot, you switch off the heat generation part in the plane wall. T1 and T2 are known to you. What kind of a profile would you get? Linear profile. So, this, let us say T2 is greater than T1. So, you get some sort of a profile like this. If you now generate heat inside the system, what would be the profile? Integrate it twice, q dot is a constant. So, it is going to be some sort of a parabola. Okay. The parabola may not be symmetric, it would be symmetric when T1 is equal to T2, and this is not. So, if T1 is equal to T2, then what you get is a parabola, parabolic distribution of temperature. This is simply by solving it and using the two boundary conditions, that at x equal to plus L, T is equal to T1, and at x equal to minus L, T is equal to T2. And if T1 is equal to T2, it is going to be parabolic in nature. The temperature distribution for such a case would be, I am simply writing the final form of this equation. So, this Ts is the surface temperature. So, that means T1 is equal to T2 equal to Ts. So, one should be able to find out what is the mid-plane temperature. How do you find out the mid-plane temperature? The temperature at the midpoint, put x equal to 0. Okay. And you would see that if you put x equal to 0, that is your maximum temperature. So, T max would simply be at x equal to 0. All right. So, it is going to be a parabolic distribution with this being symmetric. If any one of them suppose T2 is higher than T1, then the apex of the parabola will be shifted more towards T2. So, those are straightforward cases. Just one thing I would like to point out is that what if suppose it's a parabola and T1 is equal to T2. So, what is the condition, extra condition that one can say at x equal to 0? For the case where your temperature or at the two boundaries are equal, what is going to be the condition at x equal to 0? dt by dx is equal to 0. If dt by dx equal to 0, what kind of a surface is this? If dt dx at any surface is equal to 0, what kind of surface is this one? No heat flux. So, what is this surface called? Okay. It is an adiabatic surface. It is not an insulated surface, it is an adiabatic surface. All right. So, that is another thing. And suppose if you have a case in which one side of it is perfectly insulated, the other side is exposed to a convection environment with H being the convective heat transfer coefficient and let us say T infinity being the temperature of the medium at a point far from the wall, and let us say this is Ts. What kind of extra boundary condition would you have? Because you do not know T2, right, in this case. One side perfectly insulated, okay, the other side exposed to a convection environment. So, T2 is unknown to you. You would still like to solve, and Ts is known to you. Okay. So, you are going to use that dt dx at x equal to minus L is equal to 0. All right. Any other condition which you can use? Suppose Ts is unknown, but T infinity is known to you. This one again is not known to you, but T infinity is known to you.
So, at x equal to minus L,
No, this is your minus L, and your T infinity is this temperature, which is far from the wall. Suppose it is in contact with air, it is a bulk air temperature. You have already identified one condition on this using the perfect insulation case, which is dT dx equal to 0, no heat can cross this surface. Now, Ts is also unknown to you. So, how do you find out T infinity? Well, H, whatever A that I have, Ts minus T infinity is equal to minus or plus? Minus K, let us forget about A in here, dt dx x equal to L. So, what you are saying in effect is that whatever heat that comes at this point is being convected out at steady state. Can I equate it with something else? Can I, what you have said is perfectly right. You have used conduction, convection, equality at the interface. Can I add something else over here? Can I make it equal to something else? Is there any other information which is available to you? Q dot. So, I can equate it with what? Q dot times Q dot, again remember Q dot, as I have said here, is heat generation per unit volume. So, what should this be equal to? L or 2L? No, it should be twice L times A, because this is L on this side and L on the other side. So, it is twice L and A, which will obviously cancel with this one. So, it's a statement of our understanding of the problem, that whatever heat that is generated inside the wall, inside the plane wall, has to be convected out. So, the amount of heat that gets convected out must be equal to the conductive heat, must be equal to the generated heat. Q dot is heat, uniform generation of heat. So, at any point the amount of heat generated is Q dot watt per meter cube. So, you multiply that with the volume of the system to get the total amount of heat that is generated, and at steady state the total amount of generated heat must be convected out at x equal to plus L. So, there would be several variations of this problem, and now you should be able to identify. One is temperature specified, temperature equal. In that case, it is going to be a symmetric parabola. You can find out the T max, the maximum temperature at x equal to 0. If it is one side is connected to an adiabatic wall, then either of these conditions can be used. So, that those are the possibilities and applications you can now should be able to find out. If it is a cylindrical system, and suppose you have temperature generated again uniformly in the with the rate of Q dot watt per meter cube, and suppose we have temperature variation only in the r direction. So, let us say it is a nuclear fuel rod. Okay. So, temperature not varying with z or with theta, temperature is varying with r. So, obviously, at the center line the temperature would be maximum. Now, if you write the heat diffusion equation in cylindrical coordinate with no variation of T with theta and z, but with generation of heat, the form of equation would be something like this. So, it is one dimensional heat conduction with generation for a cylindrical fuel element, similar to what we have before. This would be the form of the equation. Now, one can proceed to find out what would be the distribution. What kind of a distribution am I going to get from here? Q dot is a constant, it is not a function of r. So, what type of profile am I going to get? Parabolic. all right. So, and T would simply be equal to so one can see that if you integrate it one more time, you are going to get a logarithmic term over here plus another C2 term. So, two constants. These two constants are to be evaluated. Without understanding anything, if you give the problem to someone, a mathematics student, he should be able to tell you, knowing anything, knowing nothing about heat transfer, what would be the value of one boundary one integration constant? C1 equal to 0, and why? All right. Okay. So, at r equal to 0, t has to be finite. That condition can be used. You can also use the condition that since the temperature is going to be maximum at r equal to 0, so dt dr at that point should be equal to 0, which would also give you C1 equal to 0. Second condition, what are the possibilities? Like if we know about these possibilities, then solving any problem given to you would be easy. Like you have to think carefully, like which are the boundary conditions possible and which one you can use. So, one you can use is dt dr at r equal to 0 should be equal to 0, and other conditions possible, that is the surface temperature may be known to you. So, T temperature at small r equals capital R, suppose that is known to you, or the surrounding temperature and the convective heat transfer coefficient is known to you, in which case again the conductive heat should be equal to convective heat at small r equals capital R. The other condition could be the total amount of heat generated in the system should be equal to H times T of the surface minus T infinity. So, that is the other possibility, same as before. Okay. So, whatever be the total amount of heat generated into the system must be equal to the amount of heat that is being convected convected away at the surface. So, these are some of the examples of heat generating systems, and I am simply going to discuss about one problem very quickly, and in the next part of this class, in the tutorial part, we will solve some of these problems. In this specific case, I have two walls A and B. The temperature at x equal to 0 is T0. This side is perfectly insulated, and the temperature over here is T1 and over here is T2. I also have T infinity and H known to me. So, in wall A only I have some heat generation. The thickness of this wall is also known to me to be equal to 50 millimeter, whereas this one thickness of wall B is 20 millimeter. This value of Q dot A is 1.5 into 10 to the power 6 watt per meter cube. Value of Ka is, that is the thermal conductivity of A is 75 watt per meter Kelvin. Value of Kb is 150 watt per meter Kelvin, and T infinity is 30 degree centigrade. H is 1000 watt per meter square Kelvin, and in this case Qb is equal to 0. So, let me give you explain the system one more time. Two walls attached to each other, A and B. Thickness of A, thickness of B given, K of A and K of B are also given. Heat is generated only in A, not in B. One side, the exposed side of A is perfectly insulated. The exposed side of B is in contact with the convection environment, T infinity and H being specified. Now, before I proceed, just to give you some idea, this H equal to 1000. Okay, you are going to be an engineer, so you should know if H equal to 1000, whether it's high convective heat transfer or low convective heat transfer. Okay. So, any idea? High convective heat transfer. Now, how high is high? It's high compared to which one? Which case? So, still air or flowing air? Okay. So, what I wanted you to find out is the range of values of H for different situations. For example, if you have, because that is going to be extremely important from a practical point of view. If you have just natural convection in air, the value of H would be roughly between 5 to 10 watt per meter square Kelvin. So, this is for natural convection in air. Whenever you substitute air with a liquid with high thermal conductivity, the value of H would be more. Ranges of H equal to 1000 would probably tell you that it's probably in contact with a liquid and turbulent conditions are being maintained. Okay. So, 1000 is definitely liquid with turbulent conditions, mild turbulent conditions. Now, this value of H could be even higher as well. Okay. So, as you increase the turbulence, the value of H will increase, but whenever you say 10, you know that it is natural convection with air. Whenever it is 1000, it is probably liquid with turbulent condition. All right. The first part of this problem is how do you sketch the temperature distribution in such a system. Now, if you suppose you do not have heat generation, that means both QA and QB equal to 0. What can you say between the temperature profile T0, T1 and T2? Linear. Now, anything else? Slopes will change at this point. Which slope is going to be more? The slope between in the A or in B? I have three temperatures T0, T1 and T2. So, of these T0 is suppose this one, T2 is this one. So, where are you going to place in this scale T1? Over here or over here? So, this I call situation 1, this I call situation 2. 2 or 1? Why 2? Okay. This KB is 2 of Ka, all right. So, in order to your some heat is flowing, same heat is flowing through this. So, you need less temperature gradient in B to get the same amount of heat transferred. So, it would be something like this roughly. Okay. So, this is the case when you do not have any heat generation. Now, when you have heat generation in A, what changes you are going to make? Is it going to be a symmetric parabola or asymmetric parabola? Okay. Okay. So, it's going to be more towards T0. Is it going to be a parabola? It's going to be a part of a parabola. Anything else about the shape without solving the problem, can you say? Anything else about the shape of the so called parabola? Would this B change? The profile in B, would it change? It should not, because its governing equation is not changing. Only thing is this value of T1 may be higher. Okay. So, this could be like this, but the nature of the temperature distribution will not change. But you are saying that this is going to be a parabola once I switch on the heat generation. Anything else about the shape in A? Apex will be towards T0. Is that statement correct? Am I going to get an apex? What is the condition at x equal to 0? At x equal to 0, you have insulated wall condition. So, that means that dt dx equal to 0. So, you are going to get a profile where the slope here would be 0. So, it is going to be something like this and then a straight line. All right. So, that would be the temperature profile. And what else can you say at this interface? Any other condition that you can, because you do not know what is going to be known to you. Okay. So, you should, whenever you look at a problem, think of all the possibilities that there may be, which you can use to find out the unknown. So, you are going to say dt dx equal to 0, it is going to be something like this. Any other condition we can think at x equal to whatever 50 mm. What is going to be the condition, extra condition that you can put at?
So if you are finding it separately, then we can find it. The q dot should be same from both directions. So if you are finding it separately.
What is q dot? I mean the amount of total amount of heat generated.
No, sir, sorry, sir. The flux between the flux from this side and the flux from this side.
Flux from right to left or left to right?
Left to right.
Left to right, and the flux in B. So, what he is suggesting, what is the technical name for this?
Equation of continuity.
Is continuity term should be there, but it is continuity of heat flux or continuity of heat rate, which has to be maintained. So, what he is saying is q at q x at 50 mm should be equal to q x, I mean at this point, through this is through A and this is through B. If I express it mathematically, minus k of k A dt dx within A at this location should be equal to minus k B dt dx at the other location. So, that is continuity of heat flux, heat rate. You are also using continuity, or you can also use continuity of temperature. That means T on the this side should be equal to T on the other side. So, you should also look for continuity of heat flux and continuity of temperature while solving problems. Anything else anything else at the boundary that you can use?
Slope should be same. So you are doing a profile of t versus x.
Should slope be same? If you look at this expression, it is going to be proportional to kb by ka. All right, that is what it should be. So, this ratio of the slopes should be equal to the ratio of the thermal conductivities, which it should be. Anything else you can say at the boundary? I will not solve the problem, I will simply show you the possibilities that you may have to use while solving it. Anything else you can say at the boundary? What happens to the total amount of heat that is generated at this point? It gets conducted through B. So, q dot A multiplied by volume, which is total amount of heat generated, should be equal to minus k B times area times dt dx at this point. Total amount of heat generated in here should be equal to the conductive heat which is passing through B. Agreed? So, that is one condition which you may have to use. What is the condition at this point that I am going to use? What are the possible conditions? I do not know which condition I may be able to use, but I should know all the conditions. Conductive heat flux, that is the amount of heat that is coming to this point by conduction, should be equal to whatever is going out by convection. Pardon me? In the previous condition, what I said is the total amount of heat generated in A would be equal to q dot A multiplied by the cross sectional area multiplied by the length, which is L A. So, A is the cross sectional area, L A is the length. So, q dot A, which is in watt per meter cube, multiplied by meter cube. So, q dot, so this would be watts, that means the total amount of heat generated, that should be equal to minus k B area times dt dx at whatever x equal to 20, or I shouldn't say 20, x equal to 50. Okay. The total amount of heat generated, it has nowhere to go except towards the right, because the left hand side it is insulated. So, the total amount of heat generated should be equal to the conductive heat at this junction. Is that clear? So, now I am thinking about what is happening at this location. You have correctly suggested that the conductive heat, which is minus k B A dt dx at x equal to 70, should be equal to the convective heat, in which case I am going to use Newton's law of cooling. So, that would be equal to H times A times T2 minus T infinity. Fine. So, that is one condition I can use. Anything else? Any other condition in terms of total amount of heat generated? Okay. So, this should be equal to again the convect H times T 2 minus T infinity. All right. So, total amount of heat generated in A is being convected out, because nothing is happening in B, it simply passes the heat to the next segment. So, total amount of heat generated in A, which we have identified as Q dot A times L A times L A should be equal to H times A times T 2 minus T infinity. So, that is another condition which you may have to use. So, all possibilities, choose the ones which are relevant for the problem at hand. Now, this coming back to the specific problem, it asks you to find out the temperature T0, that means the temperature, find T0, which is temperature of the insulated surface, and T2 which is temperature of the cooled surface. So, find out T0 and T2. It is your job to very quickly find out what would be the value of T0 and T2, but I will simply give you the answer for this case. T0 is 140 degree centigrade and T2 is 105 degree centigrade. So, I think I have touched upon all the possibilities. Now, you think and choose the possibility using which you would be able to find out T0 and T2. All right. We will solve more problems in the later part of the class, but let us talk about extended surfaces. Now, the term extended surface is used to describe a solid surface where you are going to have conductive heat transfer through it and convective heat transfer from its periphery. So, suppose this is a very hot surface and I would like to cool the surface. Okay. It is in contact with air, which generally has very low values of heat transfer coefficient. If it is natural convection, the value is 10. If you apply some amount of turbulence in the system, since it's air, its value is going to be maybe 100, maybe 200. Now, so if you think about the heat transfer from this surface, it would be equal to H times A times T of this surface minus T infinity. So, how can I increase the value of heat transfer? I can increase the value of H by increasing turbulence. I can reduce the value of T infinity by supplying cooler air, or what is the third option? No, my aim is to decrease T. So, I should not increase this T. I can decrease T infinity, I can increase H. The other option available to me is increase the area HA. So, I cannot do anything about H, I do not have the option of reducing T to T infinity any further. So, I am going to increase A. How do I do that? I simply attach extra area like this, okay, where this base is going to get some amount of heat from the base. Okay. The heat is going to get conducted through it. As it is being conducted, it's going to get, I am going to have convective heat losses from the periphery. So, this would be a fin. Okay. The shape of this fin tells you, like, fins can be of different shapes. This would be a pin fin. Okay. So, I have conduction and convection. So, when I come towards the end of this is the end of the fin. Whenever I have to decide whether I should attach a fin or not. That means, in order to make a fin and attach it to the surface, I am putting some, I am incurring some cost. So, when can I say that use of a fin is justified? And secondly, one also has to find out what type of material should I use for this fin, what would be its shape, and what would be the spacing of one fin with respect to other. So, these three questions we would also like to address. So, we would like to find out the temperature distribution inside a fin where it is experiencing convection from the side and conduction through the cross sectional area. What would be the material of construction for a fin, what would be the shape of a fin, and when can I say that fin is effective. Okay. So, I have to define an effectiveness parameter for the fin as well. Now, fins can be of different shapes. It could be a rectangular fin. Okay. So, it's like a rectangular fin. It could be a fin like this, okay, which it can also it could be a fin like if you have a straight rod and this is the material which you would like to cool. So, you add something like this. So, in this case this is a circular fin, okay, circular fin, a number of circular fin attached at the sides, or you can have a pin fin. So, any surface where it experiences convection at the periphery, but conduction through the cross section and it is attached to a base can be called a fin. So, the conduction analysis for such a fin, that would be the first thing we would derive in this class. So, let us say a pin fin is attached to a surface and we would like to find out the temperature distribution inside such a fin. So, what I am going to do is I am going to take out a strip, an annular strip on the surface of the pin fin. So, if I see this one, it would be something like this, and this is, let us say, AC, which is the cross sectional area, and this is DAS, differential surface area, and AC, the cross sectional area, as I have drawn or tried to draw in this figure, is a function of x as well. I have some amount of conductive heat which is going from here. The amount that is leaving is q x plus dx, and I am going to have convection, let us call this as dq convection. Is the system clear to you? Some amount of conductive heat which is coming to this point, the conductive heat which is leaving this, and the convective heat which is going out. That is the situation, right? That's the only possibility. It's not generating any heat. So, heat coming to this point, heat going out by conduction, and the heat that is leaving by convection. So, what is the relation between qx plus dx and dq convection at steady state? Qx is equal to qx plus dx plus dq convection. Fine. So, that should be at steady state, that is going to be the case. How can I express qx in terms of Fourier's law? Minus k AC, which is a function of x, dt dx evaluated at x. So, this would simply be minus k AC dt dx at x, and qx plus dx would simply be equal to qx plus dqx dx times dx. So, that is Taylor series expansion neglecting any higher order term. So, what you would left with if you think of these two terms is this one. What is dq convection? Dq convection in terms of Newton's law of cooling, H dAs T of the surface minus T infinity. In this equation, which terms are functions of x? Ts and As. these two are going to be functions of x. So, if you substitute all of this in this equation, simplify, which I am not going to do, the final form of the equation, it is in your text. So, you can intermediate steps you can find out. This should be the form of the equation. Whatever be the form, it is not important. You know that you have simply substituted Qx, Newton's law, Qx plus dx, Taylor series expansion, dq convection by Newton's law. Only these three things are important. How do you come from here to here? I do not put much stress on it. It is simple algebra, nothing beyond that, but these concepts should be clear to all of you. What happens if it is a cylindrical fin of constant cross section? Which term here you can say it is going to be equal to 0. So, this is going to be, there is no change in the cross sectional area. What happens if it is a, let us say, straight rectangular fin? That means it is a key. dAs by dx should also be 0. Okay, I agree. Let us look at this one and you tell me what is going to be dAs by dx. Should dAs by dx is equal to 0 as well. Okay. What I am doing is I am drawing a rectangular fin, and as you can see it is going to be of constant cross section. Now, it is a constant cross section case, and if I look at my previous equation, what is going to be the change in this in the previous equation that I can say? My d2t dx square would be there. The term containing AC or dAc dx would not be there, but it is going to be 1 by AC h by k dAs by dx times t minus t infinity equal to 0. Okay. Is dAs dx also 0, or what is the value of dAs dx? Let us say p is the parameter of this one. So, if p is the parameter, it would simply be equal to 2 of w plus t. All right. Parameter would be 2 of w plus t. What is the value of dAs dx? What is the value of dAs dx? It does not vary with x, or is it a constant? Should it be 0 or a constant? What is the value of that constant? If you have, let us say this is your x, what is the surface area? AS is simply p into x. P is the perimeter, x is that thickness, x is the distance. So, dAs dx would simply be equal to p. Clear? So, what is the surface area? Surface area of a differential element. Surface area of a differential element of length, let us call it length, dx would be this surface area, side surface area, the surface area under it, and surface area on this side. So, what is that surface area? It is simply going to be whatever be the perimeter multiplied by Ax. So, As would simply be equal to, or rather this differential surface area would be equal to perimeter times dx, because the surface area is simply going to be this one, this side, and underside of the fin as well. Okay. So, all the perimeter multiplied by dx, which where dx is the differential distance, this is dx, should be equal to area from which convection is taking place. So, when you think of ds by dx, it would be a constant simply equal to be the perimeter of the system. So, the governing equation would simply be equal to this would be the governing equation for a system, where H is the convective heat transfer coefficient, P is the perimeter, K is the thermal conductivity of the fin, AC is the cross sectional area, and that's it. Those are the physical parameters of the system. So, these two are geometric parameters of the fin, physical property of the fin material, and the condition that you have outside of the fin. This is going to be extremely important. So, I am going to repeat it one more time. Perimeter and AC, these are geometric parameters of the fin. They would govern how the fin would look like, how are you going to manufacture the fin, what would be its shape, length, etc. If you think of K, that would specify the material of the fin, what kind of material would you choose for the fin. If you think of H, it's what's the condition at the outside of the fin, that means what kind of environment the fin is exposed to, and all these are interrelated. So, we would have to decide about the shape, material based on what kind of environment it is being exposed to. Now, that we can do by common sense, or we would be able to do by mathematics as well. Now, what happens is the base of the fin is getting some amount of heat. Okay. The fin is getting the heat only from the base, and then it is going to convect the heat out as we move towards the periphery of the fin. So, if we define an temperature theta as equal to T, which is a function of x minus T infinity, then this equation simply becomes d2 theta by dx square minus, let us call it m square theta is equal to 0, where your m square is Hp by Kac. What is the solution of this equation? That means theta, okay, C1 e to the power mx plus C2 e to the power minus mx. Okay. This equation now has to be solved for different possible boundary conditions. One boundary condition is fixed, that means the temperature at the base is known to you. If temperature at the base is known to you, Tb is known, or in other words theta b is known. Theta b is simply defined as Tb minus T infinity. Alright. So, that means at x equal to 0, theta is equal to theta b, that is condition number 1 which is known to me. I will not in your text again you will see this specific equation solved for several other possibilities. I will not solve it in the class, there is no absolutely any book. You can look at Hallman, you can look at Incropera, you can look at any book in heat transfer, the solution of this equation for different conditions are given. That is not important, but what is important is to identify what are the possible conditions that I may have at the other end, that means at x equal to L, what are the conditions that are possible. You suggest me something, and we will simply write down the name of that, put a name for that specific case, and you can look at your text and see what is the solution. So, what do you think at x equal to L the condition would be? Use your common sense, no heat transfer is involved here.
So, net conduction equals convection.
Net conduction is equal to convection. So, whatever is coming to this point, to this surface by conduction has to be convected out. So, minus K AC dt dx at x equal to L should be equal to H times AC times T at x equal to L minus T infinity, condition number 1. So, that means this surface is experiencing conductive and convective heat transfer. That's another way of saying that the tip of the fin is active. So, I call that as the tip of the fin. So, the tip of the fin is thermally active. Whatever it gets by conduction, it gets the heat gets out by convection. So, obviously, if there is a condition called active tip, what is the next condition? Inactive tip. Now, what can you say about inactive tip? How do you make a tip inactive? You can insulate it. So, if the tip is insulated, though I do not know why would you want to insulate your tip, what would be the condition for that case? So, it is going to be dt dx at x equal to L is equal to 0. So, another the second would be insulated tip. So, for each of these conditions you can solve the previous problem, alright. So, I am not going into the solution, I am just telling you what would be the thing. Now, is there any other condition which would make dt dx equal to 0 at the I am only talking about the tip. What happens if the no, let us think about what happens if the fin is really long. Its temperature may almost reach Ts. That means, if for a very long fin you have what is called an insulated tip again. So, the third possibility could be very long tip, a very long fin, I am sorry, very long fin. In for each of them, again as I said, you can solve the problem for different solve the problem with slightly different form of the solution. I am only temperature at the tip will probably reach that of T infinity. So, there will be will not be any change with x anymore. I mean, theoretically that will only happen if it is an infinite fin. Okay. Now, let us think of, or let us rather write this, go back to this figure. What kind of a material would you choose for a fin? Your common sense answer. Highly conductive. Okay. When can you, what kind of cross section perimeter you would like to provide? Maximum convective area. So, if it is a maximum convective area, what is it going to be like this? The fin should be like this page or a thick book, like a page. So, you want thin fins, okay, with low cross sectional area, but large this thing surface area. So, fins should always be of low cross section, I mean small cross section, but large amount of surface area is provided. So, now when you look at your car radiator, you would see, you would always find those fins are thin, wide, and they almost look like this paper, maybe thicker than this. So, that's the reason for that is this one. And when are you going to use fin? Fins are only used when you have low values of H. So, you would mostly see fins when the ambient is air, when it is exposed to air environment, okay, not to a liquid with high thermal conductivity. So, fins are specifically used for cases where you have a convection, air convection environment mostly. Thin fins are preferred, fin material should be of high thermal conductivity. Okay. Two definitions of fins are important. One is fin performance and the second is fin efficiency. The fin performance is defined as the fin heat transfer rate and heat transfer without fin. What is this? It's simple. You attach a fin. If you haven't attached the fin, the area available for convective heat transfer, what would be the area? AC. Think about it. You are attaching it to the surface. You are attaching a fin to the surface. All right. If you do not have the fin, then the area available for heat transfer is AC, the cross sectional area of the fin. So that's your heat transfer area. And since you have attached the fin, this everything else is now taking part into heat transfer. So this is fin heat transfer rate, heat transfer without the fin. Fins are, it's a rule of thumb, never used, never prescribed unless epsilon is greater than equal to 2. So unless you get at least double the heat transfer from an engineering point of view, never prescribe a fin, because that involves extra cost. And fin efficiency, which is eta, is defined is the actual heat transfer divided by maximum heat transfer. Now, what is actual heat transfer? You can simply find out from, if you know the temperature profile, you would be able to find out what is the actual heat transfer. That means, if I have a fin, its heat is being transferred from all these sides, and I can find out what is the heat that is transferred from a fin. And when do you think the fin would be maximum efficient? When the temperature difference of the fin and of the surrounding is very high. So, T of the fin minus T infinity is very high. What is the maximum temperature of this fin? Where is the maximum temperature of the fin? At the base. So, the maximum temperature of the fin is at the base. So, maximum amount of heat transfer, obviously theoretically it is not realistically possible if the whole fin is at its base temperature. Okay. If the whole fin is at its base temperature, which is the maximum, then that would be your maximum heat transfer possible at the fin. And based on that, I mean, if you can see that as I move in this direction, the temperature will progressively decrease. So, the actual heat transfer would obviously be less than the maximum heat transfer. That means, the maximum value of efficiency, like all other definitions, would be equal to 1. So, these two are definitions. Yes. Okay. I have a surface, and I suppose I have attached a fin. All right. The temperature here is Tb, temperature here is T infinity. This surface area is obviously AC, and this is my AS. So, epsilon is defined as the fin heat transfer rate, which is the amount of heat transfer that goes out of this. Okay. And suppose I do not have the fin now. So, what is the area that is available for conduction now? AC only. So, my heat transfer without fin would simply be equal to H times AC times T of B minus T of infinity. So, this is going to be my denominator, and you know the numerator. One possible case for which the equation has been solved, and this epsilon is Kp by HAC. This one can find out that epsilon, you can see your text that for one specific condition, epsilon is Kp by HAC. Let us reiterate what I have said before, looking at it mathematically, and that will be the end of the class. I want, for my fin material, I want my epsilon to be very high. Fin material should be high thermal conductivity. Fins are prescribed for the case of low H, and AC by P should be low. That means, thin fins are preferred. Okay. So, that is all about extended surfaces, and I suppose I have given you an overview of fins. Thank you.